816 at KFire 550, 99.7, your free iHeart app. Really, it should be Guns in the 605 today. Hi, Mike. How's it going?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Good. No Clay today, but don't worry. Mike's a good guy, even if he is a South Dakota guy. You do realize that North Dakota is the top Dakota. You know that, right?
I understand that, yeah, because I have a map. I can see that.
See, every map shows it. I'm just saying. But South Dakota Representative Dusty Johnson's reintroduced a couple of bills that make me think, well, wait a minute, we have a Second Amendment, but all right, so what's going on?
Well, he's got a couple of things passing, and of course, he's also trying to get them, I guess you would say, adjoining bills in the Senate as well. But Dusty Johnson bills allow tribal members, RVers, and active duty military families to exercise their Second Amendment right to obtain a firearm. It's a new thing, of course. You think about it, you've got a lot of people that travel on their RVs and whatnot and going here and there. Of course, they occasionally have P.O. boxes, and that always is a problem as well. The Tribal Firearms Access protects tribal sovereignty and lists tribal governments as eligible entities to issue identification documents for the purpose of transferring a firearm. The Second Amendment is only as effective as it is obtainable for all citizens to purchase firearms, says Johnson, and his bill would ensure more law-abiding individuals can practice the Second Amendment rights. And like we said, I believe former governor, Senator Rounds is trying to put an appendant thing in the Senate on that as well.
I guess there's that part of me that goes, we have to have legislation to protect our rights. And
yeah, that is the thing. And one of the things on this, which it doesn't address on the RVs, is I've talked with Clay many times, even back when he was the NRA rep, about South Dakota's law on motorcycles, because you're technically not allowed to have a registered firearm when you're on a motorcycle in the saddlebags or anything else. That's something they slipped by years ago, and I've been very vocal on getting rid of that, as a matter of fact, because it's just it's one of those things where where does your rights end? Is it because you're on a motorcycle, or just motorcycles are scary in general?
What the heck was the thought process there? I mean, I guess if you want to say, okay, you can't have one in your hand as you're riding because your hand should be on the handlebars or whatever, but
it's completely about the Sturgis rally. It basically goes against the entire state, because the Sturgis rally is something that they want to clamp down on more. So yeah, that's where it all comes from.
Okay, but if you're in Watertown, for example, you're not really anywhere near Sturgis, so.
Well, we pay taxes on the highways through here, except for areas like where we can have 80-mile-an-hour speed limits. But then when you get into, I believe, Pendleton County, it all gets down to 65. They're still benefiting from the tax dollars for the 80 mile an hour thing. So it's one of those shows that just goes to show you that it's not a well thought out thing, and it's more of a, well, like this law would clear up some things at least, but that's the bad side about trying to protect your rights for the Second Amendment, is that you constantly have to clear up something that is very simple. You have the right as a law abiding citizen to purchase and carry a gun.
And that's why I'll never become a politician, because they don't like people like me to look at them and go, "You are crazy," for whatever thoughts they're having.
Well, we've had a few of those good politicians out there, but they get beat down pretty hard. And it's hard to go against the system that constantly wants to placate to the lesser evils, I guess.
You know how oil and water don't get along, right? So crazy bubbles to the top versus non-crazy, which inevitably apparently sinks to the bottom. So
yeah, remember, everything at the top is in North Dakota.
Hey! Only geographically. Jeez. Mike Guns of the 701, Clay out today. Johns Hopkins says more gun control is needed to prevent a second civil war. Oh, good grief.
It's a great one that was written by three very left-leaning lawyers, four, as a matter of fact, Johns Hopkins, of course, which just renamed one of their buildings to Bloomberg Treatment Center because Michael Bloomberg gave them $100 million to do so. When you look at who's writing your check, of course, you're going to write to whatever they say. And then that's what it's coming down to. The Center for Violent Solutions, which is part of Johns Hopkins, Michael Bloomberg's School of Public Health, conflates private gun ownership with armed insurrection. And in order to stop an armed insurrection in the country, we all should be without guns. That's what they break down to do. So think about that for 1 second. I mean, that goes against the tenet of the Second Amendment, free and, to carry a weapon, of course, to protect your country. We're looking at both the, foreign and domestic. You've got to look at what you're doing. But, we're talking about a gun is an inanimate object, not a disease, an alignment, or an ailment or a disorder. But that's the way this Johns Hopkins new publication is treating it. So when you take a medical institution and you turn it into a mouthpiece for Bloomberg School of Public Health, turn it into this, it just goes to show you that, you're weaponizing the different veins of, discourse in the country.
Somehow I've always thought of taking the guns away as kind of a genie back into the bottle, cat back into the bag or whatever the heck. It's not going to work because there's always going to be somebody with a gun. So you might as well leave them all out there. But that's just me.
Well, that's like having gun-free zones. Where do the biggest incidents happen? But in gun-free zones, because no one is there to protect anyone. Of course, from the maniac that does come in with a gun. So I mean, it obviously doesn't work in certain areas like Ohio that pass laws for South Dakota and I believe North Dakota where you can have open carry. We've seen statistics, major statistics, where gun crime has gone down. And Ohio, I spent a lot of time there in my youth, and I got to tell you, it was a pretty bad state. But you know what? They've seen their numbers go consistently down over the last 6 years since switching over to an open carry state.
Christmas time, actually mid-December, I guess. 96 is when I had the gun in my face. Eastland Mall in Columbus, which I guess Eastland Mall's a thing of the past now, like so many malls. But maybe the answer is offer each person who comes in the store a gun so they can defend themselves, and then nobody with a gun is going to come in and try to rob the place because they're going to realize, well, wait a minute, they're giving guns to everybody in this store. I might get shot.
Well, you see when you go into a store, an implement store or anywhere else around our states, and you see somebody with a gun on their hip, that they are simply protecting their selves and, probably the people around them. They're not there posing and acting all crazy. No, they're just people doing their everyday things, and they're exercising their rights. And, they don't stand out other than the fact that they're open carrying. And, that says a lot to people who think they're just going to run in and cause crime and do these things that we constantly see being portrayed on the news as absolutely rampant, whereas they do not show that when people have guns and able to protect themselves, the criminals tend to be on the wrong end of the barrel, as it seems.
Right. And they just don't seem to get the point that if you've got somebody that has access to a gun and is trained, then if somebody does come in and start shooting multiple people, we can cut down on the number of people if somebody can attack the guy, right?
That's right.
Or a woman. I guess it could be a woman, but it tends to somehow be a guy.
Yeah.
Women get madder than guys, but guys somehow get more violent about it. I don't know.
I think it's about equal if we all think about it. So, I mean, yeah, I totally believe that we can, the open carry thing is probably one of the biggest solutions we have across the country. Looking for an open carry across the country is one of our main goals.
Yeah, just to get rid of guns is just, it's unreasonable for that to ever happen.
Well, they want to talk about what might cause an insurrection in this country, and I think taking away our gun rights would be one of the major things that you would see both on the left and right of people being completely against once they try to do it.
Imagine on knocking doors in the Dakotas or Montana, trying to take away guns. Hey, I need your guns. I wouldn't want that job.
Nobody home.
Somebody just might get mad and, fire one off. So let's hope that does not happen. Well, let's hope we never get to that point in the first place. Mike, solo for Clay on guns in the 701. More coming up here on K-Fire E27.
Coming up on the Friday edition of the Clay Travis and Buck Sexton Show. Days from the New Hampshire primary, the latest number.
842 and K-Fire 550, 99.7, your free iHeart app. Dakota Talk after 9, Clay and Buck after 11, and Freedom Friday, and the K-Fire Cafe, Daryl East, Cody Shue, Dr. Steve Nagel, DC, and more after 3 o'clock. Mike is here, a South Dakota guy, so it's sort of guns in the 605 and 701 today.
That's right. Right.
We kind of think alike, both states think alike on most gun issues anyway, don't you think?
I've been planning on buying at least 1 acre from Clay one day just so I can say that I have something in the 701. So there you go.
It's your little slice of heaven.
That's right. Put one goat on it, and there you go. I'm a rancher.
Senate committee passes a bill that says HOAs cannot ban firearms. Oh, those pesky HOAs think they own the darn world, don't they?
Well, I got to tell you, HOAs, if you don't look at the fine print of things, and that comes up in a couple stories, yeah, you're looking at having your rights infringed upon. Of course, the Senate committee passed a bill on Tuesday that prohibits homeowners associations from banning firearms and ammo. So not just firearms. The Senate Commerce and Energy passed the bill, of course, 8-1. The bill is amended to include parts or plats of the banning the firearms. According to that, of course, Republican Senate Majority Leader Lee Schoenbeck of South Dakota from Watertown told the committee that he would offer the amendment to the Senate floor. Now, the bill, of course, says that just because you're part of an HOA doesn't mean they have the right to disarm you. And as a matter of fact, according to some of the rules of the HOAs, that not only could they fine you, but they could also put a lien on your house and foreclose on you. So that's one of those things where if you don't read the writings that you're signing, you're definitely signing away some of your major rights in this country.
My folks used to live in an HOA thing where you owned your place, but you still had an organization that kind of ruled what you can do outside and stuff. At one point, they came and took brick off the front of their home and put just regular siding on in its place. And it turned out it was the president of the association needed some brick to fix part of her place. So they just literally went to the oldest couple that was, maybe least likely to fight. They fought and won. But HOAs can be kind of evil depending on where you are.
Well, and it pretty much is a slice of life of our political system too. Is that when you give people power and then you start seeing how they use that power, and then they abuse it. Exactly. And like I said, it's one of those things where it's like, what happens inside my house? Since when does that become someone else's problem? It's like, I'm doing everything illegal inside my home. What's the problem with you? So, apparently you need to know what's going on in my house. And that seems to be the big problem. It's like, you've got the big brother thing trying to get inside other people's lives and telling them what to do. If
it's legal outside the HOA, it should be legal inside the HOA.
That's right, and I understand the whole concept of the HOA. I mean,
Sure.
basically, you're getting things taken care of that normally you don't. You don't have someone, basically parking cars in their lot. Of course, right in the front on the grass.
On the grass, yeah.
I understand that.
Sure, I agree.
You worked your whole life. You want to live in a neighborhood that is clean and that is organized. But where does that stop? And he says, just to have a few amenities in life, do you want to give up the rights that you've been working for your whole life? Now, that doesn't seem like a fair trade.
The toilet paper roll will be over and not under.
Wait a minute, over, that's party in the front, so under is party in the back. So that's not right.
That's when you know your HOA has overstepped its bounds.
Overstepped.
Mike from G&The701 here, 846 in K-Fire. So you're going to have to explain this one to me. The headline, Georgia Credit Union bars customers from purchasing guns with their own money. Help me out here.
Well, here's one of the main things on that is that the user agreement, once again, reading what you're signing, the user agreement for the credit union, basically is a person-to-person service, and it says that you cannot purchase firearms, ammunition, firearm parts, or accessories, along with a host of other items. And there are a whole host of other items, ammunition, firearms, and more. And basically, the credit company itself has come out and says, well, we have reevaluated, now that they've been caught doing it, we have reevaluated this and said, you can opt out of this. So they're still leaving it in, but you have the option to opt out of it when you sign. And it's still a ridiculous thing. It's like you're signing away the rights that you were born with in this country. And that makes no sense to me. And it's like, I know that when we get things online and apps and whatnot, we tend to skip over a lot of the 3 pages of things to read to agree. But this is not one of those things that you need to skip, especially when you're talking about banking with your own money. And then that they want to stop you from being able to purchase anything. And there's a whole list of other things that they're disallowing as well. And once again, it goes right into what you're doing in your own home, what you're doing with the legal rights in your own country, and they want to infringe upon that. So they could stop payments. They could cancel your account. They could do all kinds of things if you don't pay attention to what you're signing.
Somewhere along the line, I feel like I'm never going to understand this world now. And you bring up a good point about reading the fine print. How many times have you installed a software update in your phone or something, or an app or whatever? Do you agree to the terms, and do you ever read that crap?
No, and that's the thing is we've gotten to that point in society where we do skip through that nonstop. We just click yes, agree, and what could go wrong is basically the mind frame that we have. What could go wrong? Well, this is an example of what could go wrong. You could lose your rights.
Well, and for gosh sakes, double check that print, because you never know. Somebody could be reckless and say, okay, I agree to saw my left leg off with a handsaw, or, something ridiculous. Okay, I'm being facetious there, but they could put some weird kind of demand in the fine print, and then next thing you know, your back's against the wall.
Well, I mean, they've had computer programs that have come down to say that if you do not follow their guidelines, they own everything. So if you're a writer or you produce something online, some online content or something like that, they're saying because you use their program, if you don't follow their rules, they own what you've produced so far. So it's like holding whatever you've created ransom.
Yeah.
YouTube used to be a little bit like that. They tried some of that on YouTube as well, and holding you for ransom because they had all your content. It's like the old joke on Facebook. It's like, you know what? You want to get rid of Facebook, but then they own all your pictures. So you've gone from having a picture album in your family house to everything on your phone and online, and now nothing's paper anymore. So if you do away, it's like having a bad breakup.
It's. I heard this, some comedian doing this. I heard on the way in this morning talking about how in this day and age, you look at a family photo album from 50 years ago and all these incredible pictures of people doing incredible things. And 50 years from now, we look back at pictures that were posted on Facebook and here's what I had for breakfast.
Yeah, ooh.
We're going to have some really exciting pictures there.
Yeah.
Or the picture of Grandma back in 1920 and then Grandma in 2020, 60, 70 years later. The bar has changed as far as what's been socially acceptable in society. I'll put it that way. How's that for soft sell?
Yeah, it has.
Yeah, no doubt.
We got great news with 701 Nation. Of course, our Jamie's got a new show on our group. Is Scott Buckmeyer is going to be joining next week, I do believe. So that's going to be a good one.
Fantastic. New YouTube every Wednesday night at 7 Central.
That's going to be, of course, the Guns in the 701, and Scott and Jamie's going to be doing 701 Nation on Thursdays, I do believe, and it'll be around the same time.
Pretty soon it's going to be a whole TV network. Every night at 7, yes. You'll be turning on.
We'll be big time.
There you go. Mike, you have a great weekend. Thanks for being on.
You too. Thanks a lot, Mitchell.
All right, take care. It's 8:50.